Hello and welcome back. Interconnectedness is our talk time topic today, and I'm Meredith McCarthy. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist and I've been doing this for over 30 odd years. I am passionate about talking about all sorts of things to do with hypnotherapy and how I work with my clients. So if you're interested to understand how I think about interconnectedness, buckle up, here we go. So, what got me thinking about this interconnectedness thing is often people may have had a near-death experience, and they often report back around having a life review and an understanding that they picked their parents and their souls on a journey to discover something, to learn something in this lifetime. And I find that really deeply useful within a client session to think about this interconnectedness that is well before this sort of physical space, that it's through time and space, if you like, or beyond time and beyond space. It's in all the realms of experience. So if we think about being a soul having an experience in this lifetime, often we can feel like a ship without a compass or a destination. We can feel this disconnectedness. And many of my clients come in with that. They feel a loss somehow. They're not quite sure what they want to do in their lives. Maybe they're in a job that isn't giving them a sense of purpose. And I think having a sense of the right community around you is everything. There are many people who have found themselves in a job that is unfulfilling, soul draining, and it just causes them anxiety, depression, and stress. So there comes a point where sometimes we get uncomfortable enough to shake out of that old pattern and conditioning and to rethink things, to get on track about really who's my tribe. How do I want to connect with them, and what do I want to do when I do that? How do I want to bring something to that space and help feel or foster the interconnectedness? They did a study, I'm not sure who it was, sorry about that, but it's just coming into my mind. It's something I heard many years ago. They did a study about depression, and they got a group of people to these were strangers, to create an idea that would help them to work together on something that none of them knew much about, but it was a sense of community. Okay, and they decided they were going to create a community garden. And suddenly, after a period of time, all of the people who are participating in that experiment would say, yeah, I actually don't feel depressed anymore. I have a sense of belonging. I have a reason to get up. And I feel like I'm achieving something that's worthwhile. This is really huge. That feeling of interconnectedness, having the right community, doing things that bring value to that community is all part of it. We're not here to be singular, okay? We're here to connect to other people and to make a difference and to support others along the way. Sometimes it's done very privately, but sometimes it is done more publicly. So people come out and they might volunteer their time somewhere. And it gives the soul a sense of fulfillment when we actually have this reciprocity, this exchange. This interconnectedness is very, very important. We also need to think about how we journey lightly through the earth and how everything that we do impacts everything else around us. We talked about love over fear in one of our first podcasts of the series, and then we talked about unity or oneness, and now the interconnectedness. So I want you to invite yourself to think about how you belong, your sense of purpose, your sense of why you're here. What are you doing? What are you up to? And for me, I can remember having this ache in my heart. I was looking for something. I knew I was meant to do something important, but I couldn't quite work out what it was yet. And an old boyfriend of mine found a little wee tiny newspaper ad. And I didn't read newspapers, that wasn't my thing. But he found it, and it was said, introductory evening to becoming a clinical hypnotherapist. And he said, I reckon you'd be good at that. And I had no idea about what hypnotherapy was. So I went along, and man, I cried. There was something inside me when I heard them talk about how they were working with people that resonated, that hit home on a level it's hard to put words to, but I knew. And so I went and signed up for the diploma in clinical hypnotherapy. That was over 30 odd years ago. That was the beginning of everything good. Not to say that things before that weren't good, they were all leading up to that moment. When I opened up my door, after half an hour, my first client came in, and that was that. I knew, yes, I've made the right decision. And I just went from strength to strength from there. There's something about your calling in life. It's not a job. I don't see it as that. I see it as a calling. It's something that I know I'm meant to do, and I'm meant to support people. So when we think about that interconnectedness, I really trust that the people who are meant to come in and connect to me, they're guided to do that. There's this synchronicity that will happen that will cause someone to find themselves in front of me, and it's perfect timing. And it's like we've already connected. It's already been predetermined in some respects that that person at that point in their life is going to come in, and we're going to do work together, and that's going to help them to get to that next stage of whatever it is that they want to achieve. And that mindset change stuff is, for me, a foundation to what I do and how I help humanity be its best self, if you like. So the interconnectedness, it gave me a sense of community. It gave me a sense of belonging and purpose, which is bigger than me. I'm of service at that point. It's not really my ego. It's just something that as a soul I'm experiencing and honoring as part of the journey through this life. Now, if I wasn't a hypnotherapist, I'm still me. I still have a sense of connection, and I still understand those basic truths, and I use them to guide my own decisions in my own life. But I choose to be of service in this way. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed that idea of interconnectedness, and please comment if you've got some ideas percolating in your head or questions. Please feel free to get in touch with me. I hope you have enjoyed this. If you're interested in becoming a clinical hypnotherapist, you can check out their website, nzach.ac.nz, and I'd love to be your guide. Anyway, I will connect with you next week, and we've already talked about love and fear. If you've missed those, you can go back and have a look at that. We've talked about unity or oneness, and now today we've talked about interconnectedness. So in our next talk time, I'd like to talk about the illusionary nature of the ego, and how that can affect us. So if you're interested in that, join me next week. See you then. Bye.